you can do it. There's a way to do it. There's totally a way to make this work and to get everything out of it that you want to get out of it. But here's the wild thing. You have to do it in the exact opposite way that you think is going to work.
PCs keeping secrets. You have thoughts about that. I want to hear them.
Yeah, let's talk about secrets at the gaming table. I think almost every table does this thing at some point. They go, hey, DM, I want to play a changeling, but I'm not going to tell the other players I'm a changeling. I'm going to assume a guise, and then later I'm going to let on that I'm a changeling, or switch at a dramatic moment. Or they're going to say, DM, I secretly want to betray the party at some point later on. Or, DM, I secretly want to be a class that I'm actually not, and then I'm going to flip the script on them at some point. And the first time you do that, it feels like it's such a good idea that it's going to be this cool dramatic reveal. Like, the players don't know, the DM knows, and then at some point you're going to do this thing where you spring it on them. Here's the problem, guys. It doesn't work that way in real life. That's not what's going to happen. Your players are going to have one of two reactions to this kind of thing happening, typically. Either A, you're going to reveal this way later on. They're not going to have caught on. That's option A. They didn't realize you successfully pulled one over on them. In which case, fully no one else gets to benefit from your secret. You just kind of do things the whole game. Nobody notices. It doesn't feel very cool because there's no dramatic tension because you do a shifty thing and they go okay, I'm going to go unlock that door, and no one cares. And then until one day you go, haha, I was a changeling all along. And you watch as your party stares at you blankly and goes oh, well, cool. And it's not a cool moment at all. It doesn't feel cool whatsoever. So that's option A. They didn't realize. Or option B, they immediately get the idea here. And then you kind of give up the ghost and it's okay, you're right. I'm actually not a cleric. I'm a warlock. And then we never really get any gameplay out of that either. So I see this happen so often with new players where they want to do this secrets thing, and the cool part is you can do it. There's a way to do it. There's totally a way to make this work and to get everything out of it that you want to get out of it. But here's the wild thing. You have to do it in the exact opposite way that you think is going to work, which is to say, you have to tell everybody. You have to tell your whole table that you've got this secret where you're a changeling, but you're not out about that. Here's the cool thing that happens when you do it. Your players know the secret, but their characters don't know the secret. But since the players are in on it, now you finally have the potential for dramatic moments. Now, when your changeling kind of, does something a little bit unusual, somebody else knows the deal and they can chime in and go I'm going to ask you about that. What's going on with that thing? And yeah, behind the scenes, you both know what's going on with that thing. But it works at the table, and you get this dramatic tension of building this thing. Are the characters going to find out that you're a changeling? And your other players play into it and they act suspicious, just in the way you kind of wanted them to before, except it wasn't working. Except now it does work because they know. It just works so much better to tell them that I almost, I don't fully ban the secrets at my table, but man, I would discourage them for players. It just works so much better when the players know the secret, and then everything just works for you magically. What do you think, Colin?
I love to always say that at the TTRPG table, if it doesn't happen in a session, it's not real. It has not happened. So maintaining a secret behind the scenes is really not having a secret, right? You're not using it. You're not getting any gameplay out of it. The whole point of the secret is for you to say, ho, 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 I have this secret that I'm keeping. But that's only dramatic tension for you and maybe your dungeon master if they care enough about the secret. But when you get everyone in, that's when it becomes special. I actually want to give an anecdote about this because I had a player who was playing a tiefling with a secret. But this is a incredibly good player, been playing with him for years. And we had both come to the same realization of kind of this concept. It's not fun to hold a secret if no one knows about it. So we're in a city, it's session 1. And this is why I love this player, because he said, I want to get this out early. I want to get it out session 1. I want everybody to know exactly what my deal is. And this was the deal, Trent. They were a tiefling, that hated other tieflings. Hated them. And they became a tiefling serial killer. So what the dramatic tension was, is you have a party who is trying to help this tiefling population. And what the players know and their characters don't, is one of their party is going out and killing other tieflings. And so now you have this massive dramatic tension of the players sitting there, like white knuckling the table as they're like, we don't know, but oh my gosh, like this is a huge secret. This is such a big deal. We can't believe this is going on. But they were loving every second of it, at least experiencing the secret, role-playing with it, saying, where were you last night? And then the tiefling serial killer rolls a nat 20 on their deception. It's like, I was just out grabbing drinks with friends. And the party goes, oh man, but you sit around for an hour after a session talking about how I can't wait until we finally get this secret revealed. And the moment the secret was revealed, it was an entire session of the players being able to let loose this explosive roleplay, accusations, betrayals, these massive speeches that had been cooking up within them for months. Because they had had time to think about what they were going to do.
What they would do.
Yeah, when confronted with the secret. And then it's great. Then it's fantastic.
Giving them the ability to like voluntarily participate in your little secret it's just so much better. They will like, it feels like them knowing is the enemy of what you want. It feels like if they know, like, well, the jig is up and it's not a thing. When in reality, like, in practice, I promise you, it's the opposite. Them knowing means that they will play along with you. Like, they will love pretending like they don't know. They will make a whole deal out of like intentionally missing clues you lay down and being like oblivious, and then everyone knows that they missed it, and it's like a whole thing, and it feels so cool. Yeah, it's the way to do it. So strong feelings on that. Don't do that at your tables.
Strong
That's our advice for the night.
Yeah. And I would even want to jump onto this more because I can sense that there are some audience members out there who are saying, but I don't want them to know everything at the start. There is a part of me that wants to slowly dole out parts of the secret. And to that, I usually like to say for players who have that type of intention, and I'm wondering if you do this as well, I say, all right, we're going to break it down into milestones then. We are going to let loose parts of the secret early and at certain times. And then further as we go along, we're going to drop more and more of this information. So we might, like, if we're taking this tiefling serial killer example, we might say, oh, the first part is they're a serial killer, and all the players know that. Then later on, they realize they're a tiefling serial killer. What? And then later on, that's when we start getting into the full backstory and why. Because that's what we did, kind of, in a way. We knew that they were a tiefling serial killer at the beginning, but the entire secret of why they were like that, that's hidden. So you can dole the secret out in increments and doses if you still want to maintain that level of other players not knowing everything. I would still say, though, to get the majority of the big secret out there and playing. And I wonder what your feeling is about that, Trent.
Yeah, so let's get to the advanced versions of this move, right? Like the basic version is don't keep the secret, tell people the secret. If we want to get into like the advanced versions of like, okay, like must we tell them everything all the time? I would say if you are going to not tell them something, first, the major thing is then you should tell them that you aren't telling them something. Which is to say, if they don't know what the thing is, you should at least make damn sure that they know that there's a thing that they don't know. Let them know that there is a mystery. There are other things going on. Like, for instance, in our tiefling serial killer example, like, you know, we're going to have a scene up front where it's like, okay, in front of the table, I'm going to, like, go leave the party. I'm going to go, like, wrap up the body from last night. I'm going to, like, throw it over the docks.
Almost bar for bar what happened.
Right. Mm-hmm. That's gonna be obvious. So like there'll be questions. They don't know everything. Like they clearly know like, okay, you're killing people, like what's going on? They're gonna have interesting questions. And then that's enough to fuel them until like, okay, we get this guy's a serial killer. And then we can start revealing like, oh, every one of these bodies is a tiefling body. And it's like, okay, what's going on there? Like, why are they like, okay, he's a tiefling serial killer. Why tieflings? Like, he is a tiefling. What's going on there? Like, why does he hate tieflings? And then eventually we led on to that. But at each stage, it's obvious that there's a question to be asked and that there's something interesting to learn there. At no point was it just, I'm going to go have drinks for the night, like roll some secret deception checks. We don't say anything like, okay, he comes back from drinks. That is not dramatically interesting. No one knows or cares. They're like, okay, you had drinks. Rad. And I guess you did some secret stuff, which could be anything from serial killing to like, oh, I have a drinking problem to like, oh, I get some illegal spell components. Like, no one knows, and because they don't know, they can't really dramatically in a big way care. You have to give them the context to care about your mystery, and only then can you start like withholding some information about it.
There is one other method for maintaining the secret, and that's if
Super Moves Part 2.
Super Moves Part 2, and that is the character themselves really doesn't care about the secret. So in a context, it's the whole, I was actually a changeling all along. But really, the whole point of the character isn't that they're a changeling in disguise. The whole point of the character is something else entirely. And they just so happen to be a tiefling. And I think this is something else that can be interesting and that I've used, where the party is walking along, and when the secret gets revealed, the character doesn't really think anything of it. They're actually not trying to hide it. But the party members go, oh, wait a minute. This is actually kind of important. It's a big deal, but because we're not expecting this massive uproar of emotion, it can be this very subtle, understated revealing of the secret, where we can let the scene kind of simmer and play, as it feels like a natural growing of a character rather than kind of a letdown with this big secret we've been building up to. I would like to kind of say that these are dad lore secrets, if you know what I'm talking about here. They're the secrets where, your dad's not trying to keep it a secret that he once, got into a boxing ring with Mike Tyson. But when you figure it out, you're like, why didn't you ever tell me? I don't know. It just never came up. Like, those type of secrets as well can work. But you have to be just okay with there not being fanfare and them not being the point of the character.
Yeah, absolutely. We're like getting so deep on the levels of like secret technique in D&D. I told you guys we were going to talk about deep level stuff today. Yeah, so everything we've talked about up until this secret technique, like assumed that you wanted the secret to be a cool big thing. If you don't care whether the secret is a big reveal or a thing, then you can keep it secret. It just won't be a big thing when it comes up. And if that's like what you want to do on purpose, hey, knock yourself out. Then yeah, you can just casually one day reveal like, yeah, he's a serial killer, like no big thing. And it's like, what?
Wait, what?
So yeah. you can do that as well, as long as you're okay with the fact that your players like may or may not have a like hardcore reaction to this based on what's happened in the campaign so far.
Absolutely. And I think, though, at the end of the day, what the point of this conversation is getting your character moments to land. Because we all think up these moments for our characters, moments that we want to have impact. And I think the part about secret keeping is that so often it is not built with the proper foundation. It is built up for you, but the other players, they just can't get that same emotional attachment. So the strategy that Trent, you've lined out is basically how to get players attached to your backstory and your secret 101.
Let people know what your backstory deal is, because that way they can participate, and that's generally better. That's the takeaway. If you've never done this, try that. I think you'll find it works a lot better. And then I think we're going to be catching you guys a little bit more frequently.